FOMO! Hey there, this is Neil Napier, and in this video we're going to talk about FOMO. I'm sure you know what FOMO is, but in case you don't, it is fear of missing out, which means that people, maybe you, maybe the customers that you're selling to, maybe someone else, is worried that they might miss out on a deal or something, which is why they act on an impulse. They act really fast, and they act because if they don't, someone else is going to take the thing that they want away. Now, the way FOMO works is typically it is either triggered in the beginning of a product launch, if that's what you're doing, or the end of a product launch, because that is when the price shoots up, because that is when the price of something goes from a lower price to a higher price, and in some cases it goes away altogether. So I'm sure you've seen this before for product launches, whether that's AppSumo, JVZoo style product launches, even Amazon Prime deals. They're all based on the ideas of FOMO, fear of missing out. People are worried that they're going to miss out on a deal, so they act really fast. Now, the reason I'm telling you about this is because I want you to use it in your campaigns. I want you to use it at every possible stage you can, but don't overuse it, because if you do that, you are going to switch people off. You're going to turn people off because they'll think, hey, this is a guy who uses FOMO all the time, let's not bother. But it does work really, really well. Let me give you some examples, some ways in which we use FOMO and how it really elevates the responses for us. So say if you're running a webinar. If you're running a webinar, we will say, hey, you have to be there live, because if you're not, we will not be able to give you the replay. And trust me, when we do that, then the response rate, the show up rate goes up. Of course, we annoy some people. Some people are like, oh, Neil, I hate it because the webinar is not in my time zone. I hate it that you do that, so I'm not going to come to any webinar. I'm going to unsubscribe. That happens, so we don't overdo this. But when we do a webinar and when we say there's no replay, the show up rate is higher. The attention is higher. People are literally sitting down taking notes while I'm talking. So when it comes to webinars, the fear of missing out works really well as well. When there's a product launch campaign, FOMO can be used in multiple stages. I think these days, a lot of campaigns are overusing it, but that's just because that's what affiliates demand. But you'll find that when a product launches in the first 3 to 4 hours, the demand for the product goes up. And so there's a big price increase coming. So people are like, oh no, I got to get in before the price actually goes up. So they jump in. Same thing happens at the end of the launch. We have done launches where we have sold something for, say, $297, and we have made more sales on the last day than we have done on the first day. So doing that allows us to capture more sales at the end. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't mail in the middle of the launch. We still do, just to keep people clued into the idea that the product is pretty good. And it usually is when we promote it, otherwise we don't. But doing this allows us to really drive up the anticipation at the end. Make sure that people realize that if the offer is going at the lifetime price, it is not going to be available. So if you are implementing FOMO yourself, please make sure that you live to your promises, because you can only cry wolf so many times. If you cry wolf 2 or 3 times, people are going to stop believing you if there was actually no wolf. Now, the reason I'm showing you all of this is because you can do everything that I've talked about inside of Kyvio's funnel builder. There are other tools out there that help you build pop-ups, help you build notification bars at the bottom, things like that. But you don't need any of those in this case, because you can build them right within the smart funnel. So let's go ahead, look at one of the pages that we have, and let me show you what different FOMO elements I can add in such a system. So here's my page. As you have already seen, we've got this timer here, which by the way has expired, so I'm going to delete that. So this timer just before the buy button automatically acts as a way to induce fear that people are going to miss out as soon as the timer hits 0. So when we mail out for something, as the timer is getting close to 0, more people jump on the price. And they should, because when the timer does hit 0, the price does go up. So it is in people's best interest to do exactly that. That's a simple enough feature that is available within this page builder. But where it gets really exciting is the conversion tools. I'm sure you know about the pop-ups, by the way, right? So you can activate a pop-up which can either load each time a page loads, or after first scroll, or first time visitors only, once a day, once per browser session, or on exit intent. And exit intent is a really powerful way to drive up the FOMO, because as soon as people are exiting, you can tell them, hey, I just want to make sure that you at least get a trial offer if you don't want to pay the full price. So that's something you can do, or you can get people to sign up to an opt-in list where you can tell them next time when the price is as low as it is right now. I've done this before, it's worked really well. So I launched a product once which was priced at $49, and I told people on the page, there was a timer and everything with me telling them that the price was going to go up. And then when they try and exit, I bring up a pop-up and say, hey, I hope you understand that the price is going to go up, so do leave your email, and next time if we ever release it at this low price, we will let you know. And if they're really interested in low price but they don't want to buy it right now, they leave the email address, so I can always go back to them and try and offer them that same low price again, or maybe a little bit higher, but just say I'm making an exception for you, so I can close sales later on doing that as well. Exit intent works really well. If you want to have a pop-up that loads up every time a page loads, that's fine as well. Maybe after the first scroll, that's okay too. But for me, what really works well is either page overlay or, most importantly, the info bar, because the info bar is something that just sits there all the time. So let me enable this. Let me show you how this functions and how you can use it in promos like these. Let me just first show you the page, what it looks like. So you can see there's a timer because I haven't saved it yet. It hasn't gone away, but there is a timer here and we've gotten rid of it. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to put an info bar here. So let's go to conversion tools and I will disable the pop-up, enable the info bar, and I'll say, let's do it after first scroll. And let's create new info bar. I don't want it up on top, so I'm going to put it at the bottom. And you can actually not see it at the moment. Let me see if I can rearrange that a little bit. There we go. Okay, that should work. So this is our info bar. Okay, let's go further up. I want to change the color, so I'm just going to change the color over to, say, black. That's okay. I mean, it will grab attention. I like the contrast. So then I'm going to put columns in there. So I'm going to put 3 columns in here. Okay, this clearly just blew up the info bar, but I'm going to just reduce the size a little bit. Okay, now let's go ahead and put some text in this. So we'll put some text here. I want to change the color to white. And instead I want to push this towards the right and say, okay, let's change this again. And let's change the color to white. Okay, that's done. I'm just going to space it out a little bit so the formatting is easy. Okay, that's good enough. Let's get a timer in there as well. So I'll go to counter and then I'll put in a timer. Personally, I don't like this big kind of timer in such a small space. So I'm going to choose a different style. Let's go for text and let's go for text color is white, which is fine. Let's pick a more reasonable date. So we're going to say that the price goes up tomorrow, right? So in about, or rather later today, 12 hours and 23 minutes. If I want to change the formatting a little bit here, I can do that as well. See, I can move this around. And then just for effect, I can put in a buy button here as well. So let's go to buttons and let's put a buy button here as well. That stands out. I'm just going to, not clone it, but I'm going to format it a little bit. Again, wrong button. I'm just going to format it. There we go. Then I'm just going to go back and change the text. Something like that. Whatever you want to put in. I could redirect it to my sales page. And that's it. Let's open this in a new URL. We're done. Let's exit. Let's save the page. And that's it. So let's see what happens now when we load the page. We've loaded the page. It's all fine. The video loads up, the heading and whatnot. But let's scroll down a little bit. You can see now this info bar shows up at the bottom, which is really driving the scarcity because it's sticking here to this even though I'm scrolling down. And if I was to put it on top, it would do the same thing on top. So let's try that now. So if I go to conversion tools and let's edit this and let's put this on top. Exit, save. Let's review this again. Same as before, the page shows up. And as we scroll down, this info bar shows up as well. You can customize as much as you want. So if you want to change the spacing, you can absolutely do that as well. Let's see. So I can drag and drop this. I can change the spacing that I'm giving here. something like that. So it is very easy for you to create these conversion tools. As I mentioned, if you're using a WordPress solution or if you're using some other solution, you need to usually have a new plugin that will do this for you, and then usually that breaks and then you have to buy another one a few months later. With Kyvio, this is built in, which is a great way to boost conversions. Again, use it responsibly, don't overuse it, because if you do that, you will turn people off. This is Neil Napier from Kyvio Lab. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you leave a comment below if you liked this video, and also make sure that if you don't have Kyvio already, click on the link inside the description and check it out. This is Neil Napier, and I'll see you inside another video.